'Twas the week before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, except 4 Muppets from Northern Ireland, here to talk about tiny fighting men to get you into the festive spirit. On this week's show, we've a whole host of historicals, some very teeny-tiny sci-fi, and even a root vegetable or two. On top of all of that, one lucky subscriber will be in with a chance to win the Conquest First Blood 2-player starter set from store.ontabletop.com. If you want to win that big bumpy prize, then you need to be a subscriber to the channel, pop a comment below, and if you can do all the usual socially media things like thumbing up and sharing around, then that helps us out an awful lot. But otherwise, sit back and relax, because your festive week starts here. Hello everybody and welcome to the Weekender. This week I'm joined by Ben, Shay and Brother Lloyd to take you through a gentle, festive meander in the world of tabletop gaming.
I don't know why I waved so madly then. It was like I was on CBBC or something.
It's like the start of the Generation game.
Yeah.
Like cut to people and be going,
yeah, a cuddly toy.
Yeah. Oh. Anyway, how have you guys been? All your Christmas shopping done?
Yeah, I have now. All sorted, ready to go. Yeah.
Haven't even started.
No, exactly.
Oh.
Christmas Eve is time enough.
Exactly.
That's how you know.
Because of spontaneous gifts, because you're thinking in the moment. That's exactly, yeah.
Well, my missus' birthday is on Christmas Day, so I'm always buying stuff Christmas Eve to try and keep it hidden. Try and get the inflatable balloons and stuff.
Do you get 2 sets of presents? Or does she only get the one? Oh, you get a 2. Okay.
But this year we've decided bugger all presents, but I'm still probably going to get something.
Yeah.
A 16-person cake.
I'm having flashbacks. Flashbacks. So many flashbacks and no cake. So it's just saying, if there was that much cake, it could have been spread around. Share the love of the cake. Anyway, yes. If you are shopping for somebody and you've still got 7 days, let's face it, then maybe you'll be able to pick up a tip or two from the show today. Remember, there's nothing an elderly aunt or uncle likes more than receiving the gift of Hellenistic Greeks or some Star Wars Legion. It's never too late.
You don't want that,
to start
Grandpa.
gaming.
I'll take that.
Yeah. Don't bother opening it. I'll bring it with me. If you just want to, I've given you this, and this. If you just want to add those to your will to just return to me when you shuffle off, that would be fine. But yeah, we have a lot to get on with. So before we get stuck into the most important part of the week, we'll be doing something slightly festive and different next week. So keep an eye out for that, you crazy kids. And hopefully it will get you through the post-dinner bloat
malaise. Yeah. Grab some of the miniatures that you've got for Christmas, sit down on Christmas Day and join us for a very good video. So
break out the fat pants.
Yes,
I think is the way that one goes. Yeah.
No buttons allowed on Christmas Day.
No, it's all elasticated waists all the way.
The good thing is, though, you've eaten so much that it's kind of become firm and hard.
Oh yeah,
so you can lie.
Painting.
You can lie on your sofa and just paint all your belly.
Brilliant.
It's good. It's a good way to go.
Oh my God, your belly button's like a little well for paint mixing.
Unless you've got one of those freak outy belly buttons.
Oh God.
I have no idea what the split is. Is it like left-handed and right-handed people?
Well, maybe.
Yeah, who knows? Anyway,
belly buttons.
My cousins all have outy buttons. It's weird.
Why is that? Just get that back. Right, shall we have a look at the Indie of the Week?
Yeah.
And this week's Indie of the Week is Relic Miniatures.
Yeah.
So, if you are aware of this lovely bearded face, you might be aware that I like games like Saga, for example, and also Clash of Spears. Discuss.
What?
So, Relic Miniatures is right up my Roman road as far as forces for both of those games. Specifically, it is set for Punic and Hellenistic War. So the Hellenistic is the late Greek, so sort of Macedonian up to the sort of explosion of Rome on the scene. So these are figures that will stand you in good stead for that period, and they've been pushing them out for some time now. You will notice they do say True 28, which I know scares some people. So I went and dug about on the interwebs, and in the Drake's Cave, I found a couple of pictures so you can see what True 28 is. So these come from various manufacturers. The one on the left is the 28mm version. As you can see, slightly taller, thinner, more realistic human proportions. He does not have a head the size of a pumpkin, nor hands like hams. Likewise, if we look at the infantry, you can see here, and these come from a whole host from Foundry and Crusader and all sorts. Hannibal here, fourth from the left. Again, roughly the same height, but a bit finer proportions. So
it's true proportions rather than going to like a 25-ish mil scale.
Yes,
almost.
Yeah, 28mm to eye level, but finer human features.
Yes,
which means you get some really nice sculpts. If you've already got existing forces, you may want to pick and choose as to what goes in there. But if you're just deciding to jump straight into Saga, for example, and lay your hands on some stuff, then you can get it all one-stop shop styly from here. You can see some of the things there, like Tarentines, Romans, Gallic Cav, and Macedonians, the old macadamia nuts.
Worth noting that difference in scale, though, so you don't rock up and go, "Why do my men all look tiny compared to yours?"
But they can hide behind cover.
Well, if you're playing Romans, it's fine because they're all very short anyway. But if we jump into the shop, you can see here there's a splash of stuff here. But down the left, you can see they have split it into various things. You've got your Bronze Age, your Carthaginians, your Elephantes, Gauls, Iberians, Illyrians, Ligurians, mythology, Numidians.
That's the area that I immediately looked at in when we were
Republican,
prepping for the
show. And successors, Thracians, and even transfers. Transfers are really nice as well, I will say that. Since you started the mythology, shall we start with mythology?
I mean, it seems like a good place to go.
Well,
the birthplace of the ancient world.
So mythological bits and pieces, obviously, results may vary as to what you want to do with these, but you have obviously the big hitters from myth.
Achilles and Ajax,
Yep. Ajax, he cleans up well, doesn't he?
He does.
Stronger than all of the other Greeks, with a mighty horned helm as well, just looking for some Trojans to ruffle stump. And Achilles.
I like that Achilles. That's pretty cool with the double blades.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah. He's got his shield on his back as well. The little bisected Myrmidon shield. I really like him. Anyway, he may be coming home with me at some point in the future. Say nothing. I need to get some transfers, and if I'm ordering transfers, I may as well order other bits and pieces. We obviously have Amazonians, famous as they were throughout Greek mythology, but then in amongst them you've got your gods. So Ares, Apollo, Artemis. Ares is quite nice as far as the war goes, but also things that, while they are Greek mythology, you can see they've taken a big dollop of Ray Harryhausen when it comes to certain sculpts. So you can see like Ares there being all godlike and warish, and very Spartan-esque as well. Well, look at him. Probably a reason for that. But things like Calibos, I mean,
that is so old school looking. Yeah,
he is, but he's very, very close to the Clash of the Titans.
Yes.
Calibos.
Yeah.
Even down to the paint palette they've used for that sort of greenish thing.
I think it's the facial features that kind of sell that, isn't it? Yeah.
Look at that. That Numidian.
He's getting squished.
Or Libyan, probably, actually. He is about to get completely smashed.
He's getting caliboshed.
Say nothing that casual.
Lloyd's here. I've got to get the puns in before he does.
You don't have to get the puns in, but I are getting the puns in. While we're on the Clash of the Titans, I'll also go so far as to go. There's Hephaestus with his little metallic owl.
Aww.
I mean, for all you Clash fans out there, really, I mean, how could you not be buying that? I definitely will be.
I really like the story of Hephaestus.
Nice as well.
Hephaestus was married to Aphrodite, I believe, and Aphrodite was cheating on him with Ares, and so Hephaestus knew about it, and so he wove an invisible net, and then he snuck into their chambers while they were in the mood, and he threw the invisible net over them, which froze them in time, and then he invited all the other gods over to come and laugh at them as they were caught just at the climax of their merriment.
This takes a weird turn, that story, right again.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody come and look and see what my wife's up to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's just
$10 a ticket. Weird turn, that story.
That's the gods for you. So, yeah.
There's
Hercules.
Post wrestling with the lion during his tasks.
Beat up his Nemean.
Because they do have him without his lion pelt on, which is quite nice. They also have several Nemean lions as well. Yeah. But things like Perseus, they do that. I mean, the Pegasi are really nice with this and Bellerophon.
Really nice.
Are very well sculpted, which is trickier than you would think. Sticking wings on a horse in the grand scheme of things, and quite like that.
The head of the Gorgon in his hand.
Gorgon. Yeah. There she is when she's not being harassed and molested. Yeah. Somebody's about to get stabbed up. This I'm going to have to look up, Mackay, because I don't recognize this.
No, I don't know what this is. Yeah,
but
that's a little man in his back. Yep,
it's great.
Yeah. Hey, you guys!
No, it's free your mind.
Yes, it's the Greek Guato. Open your mind to me.
At least nobody's going to sneak up on him.
That's true.
Worry about some sort of creepy little fella.
And again, it's the same guy getting beaten up.
Guy. He's having a rough.
That's the Libyans for you, coming everywhere, stabbing up people. But yeah, the mythological section, obviously.
Who's this skeleton-looking necromancer Lynch?
He's off sewing his dragon's teeth. Come up skeletons.
Very similar, yeah. Although decidedly more dead than
more dead than the guy thing, but he is wearing the same Persian-looking outfit with this little felt figurine hat on as well. So, and then all of a sudden you've got skeletons everywhere.
Yeah,
and sphinx size and all sorts. But anyway, yeah, obviously if you're going to be getting involved with a touch of the saga, you can always add a few of these in and play Age of Magic as well.
Mortal gods as well. Use them for that.
Mortal gods, yeah, that's true, because they added the
mythological
the mythological stuff to it. But leaving that aside, if we go in and start having a look at some of the more standard fare for your ancients, I quite like this. So here's baddest man on the planet. Here's Carthage. Presumably the baddest man on the planet is either Hamilcar or his son, Hannibal. But we do have a couple of them later on. And they are interesting figures, and always nice to have a nice sort of leader. I mean, just look at him plowing over the top of the Alps. Actually, we can look at him plowing over the top of the Alps because there's a little vignette / diorama specifically of him going up and
doing
over.
Exactly that.
Yeah. You too can get your elephant on and just go north, lads. Just keep going north. That looks more like that.
That's really cool. Yeah.
With the beard and the eye patch. But where are we? There they are. Carthaginian veterans. These are some of the shield transfers as well, actually. And I really like these because they looted a load of Roman gear and it was given out to the veterans.
Oh, okay.
So the transfers are Roman-style shield transfers with the Legio markings on them that they've just got in and drawn over the top. So they've wrote their own stuff or drew on some little things to tan it or whatever other symbols that they wanted to use there. But again, they've still got the sort of Carthaginian helms, but the Roman chain on. Really nice looking figures. So we got our Carthaginian militia. I've got a rake of these to make up. At some point, I will put together my Carthaginians for Clash. I will. I won't. I might. I've painted some. Shut up. So mean to me. So very mean. Hannibal's cavalry. He's a big fan of the cav, to be fair. There's those Libyans again, not being attacked by some monstrosity this time.
You've left us alone, thank God.
It's just off screen. It's off screen.
So what we can't see is he's just here. This is why there's 4 of them in a row, pushing that other guy forward by himself. You deal with him. Oh, God. Right, who's next?
They're really nice. Good set of skirmishers and stuff,
Really nice Libyan javelin.
The majority of their stuff looks like it's metal as well. Then, so,
it's I think pretty much metal across the board. Even the heavy lumps, although some of the heavy lumps might have resin bodies. We'll see in a minute because there's a whole section on them. And Hannibal's elite cavalry as well.
Really, just what you need for invading Rome. And conquering most of North Africa.
Just remember, whenever you go tearing around the place, to actually bring siege equipment or something to besiege with you, because otherwise all that's going to happen is when you arrive, you're going to spend a lot of time rampaging around Italy, and then the Romans are going to just go south and destroy your capital. So here we go. The heavy lumps, I think, are resin bodies on them.
Yeah, makes sense.
Here's our little nice spread of elephants as well. I would like you to be big. Oh, you're Lloyd-sized. Oh, Lloyd, look.
Let's take the biggest thing we do and produce the smallest pictures.
That's how you get an idea of distance.
Yeah.
Look at that one. This big nose going. Let's go into here. Have we look? We have Asian elephants, African elephants. Do we have any fully armored or are they only half armored?
The armored head there as well.
I don't think it matters. This picture's too small to see them. Come on, click it. Oh,
there we go.
Hey.
They've proved you wrong, Lloyd.
Plenty of room there if you want to do some fancy designs on their. I suppose it's a type of elephant curtain.
Yeah.
Oh, they are fully.
There you go. There's an armored version.
Yeah. Handy if you want to
go armor up the legs as well.
If you want to go and deal with the Indians or the Seleucids, probably.
There's a really great V&V do a really nice war elephant, and they did another version of it. I think it was last week, where they added Roman on the base who's going like about to get stepped on, which I think was really
it's nice.
Cool. Yeah.
The Aventine have one where they did an alternate trunk where he's wrapped around the leg of a Roman and it's picked it up and is smacking it into the ground. So I've got him because you never know when you're going to need to smack a Roman. Anyway, once you've got your elephants, there's a couple of different howdahs, hide and wood, and then a whole rake of mahouts and crew in a variety of ways, depending on who you need to be throwing them in with or
Very
up
nice.
against.
Yeah.
And our survey says, let's get a shot of those. Successors is a good one to have a look at, but I also want to have a look specifically at the transfers.
I think it's interesting about the range as we looked through it, and when we saw those comparison pictures as well, though, is that even though they have that slightly more true proportion and style to them, I don't think they're so out of whack that you couldn't use them alongside other lines. So you could probably get away with using them alongside, plastics and stuff from other companies. And as long as there was a decent mix of the lot between them, you could use a lot of the more elite elements that they've created and then use them alongside plastic kits and stuff if you really wanted to. So
maybe. I think it would annoy me, but maybe.
Yes, but that's because you are like, I will laser focus on this. His head is too small.
His head is now too big.
Yeah.
I like this sheet of borders and designs that you can put onto those elephant blankets. Because I've got 4 elephants with blankets on them. And I do not fancy painting Greek keys or waves on any of them. And yes, I know some companies do like one-off where it's, I think Little Big Man do one for Victrix that fits perfectly and it's just bam, done. But I don't have Victrix elephants, so I need something that is not keyed to a specific size. So being able to just come in here and just go, I'll cut out these bits. And the range of transfers has been growing.
Yeah, and if you end up with a half cut that you just paint over that element, so it doesn't look half cut.
Exactly.
What shields would these fit then? Just their own?
These fit their own, but I've seen them go on to a couple of others because you've seen there that scale-wise, the miniatures themselves may be differently proportioned from other
but
companies.
The height's the same, so the shield
the height's
size
the same, so the shield size will
similar.
be the same for Foundry, Warlord, probably First Corps as well.
Do they sell their own shields separately?
They do sell bits separately, yeah.
Always obsessed with shields.
Yeah. I mean,
always obsessed with them, never complete them.
There's a lot to be said about not.
I wasn't going to say
complaining.
But there we go.
I like them. I like them a lot, actually.
Yeah.
They're really good designs.
All their designs are really top notch. I mean, since the first person started posting these and going, "Oh, this is interesting. Where have these come from?" It's like, "Oh, Relic." And it's like, "Okay, I've clearly not paid enough attention to them." Persian Scythe Chariots. These are great, obviously for Carthage, but also then for Numidian or Libyans sort of drafted in. Look, Tanit everywhere, the mother goddess.
You can look good as you're killed by mythical creatures.
Yeah, well, don't put them up against mythical creatures then. Put them up against people like Romans who you can just butcher contentedly. Going, Yabu sucks to you. Anyway, there are a mountain of transfers, including all the chariot stuff as well, which we'll have a look at the transfers if they come up again. But here's our successors. So if you want to be playing things like Saga, for example, that has the War of the Successors campaign with the more recent one for the Diodacus, then you can do various successors in here using their socketed head TM. But yeah, camel riders are always good, especially in any game where they put the willies up regular horse, because horse apparently do not like camels coming at them, all knees and ankles and biting and spitting, and generally puts the wind up them. So
fling along,
yeah, you can track along there on the crest of a wave, going full tilt for the horizon.
Well, it would freak you out
on it. Yeah.
If you seen something that looked similar to you, but had a neck 4 times longer than you.
I'm fairly certain they've got at least 3 sets of knees in those legs, and they hinge in both directions. Because if you've ever seen camel racing, the legs go in every direction except forward. But that seems to be the direction the camel goes in. It's not right. They're not a right thing.
Galatian. That's cool.
Yes. These ones are, because obviously some of the fanatics and the like are legs akimbo and everything full frontal.
Yeah.
But you'll like what they've done with the Galatians and the Berserkers to hide that. But there's some of the Epirat cavalry. So
that is really smart cavalry. I really like those. Yeah.
Oh, they're gorgeous. If you're looking to do some sort of companion cavalry as well, obviously they need to lose those javelins or replace them with big Zistons instead.
That man on the front there couldn't control his horse. The rest of them are still charging. He's like, been dragged away by some cud.
Because he's pulled up to see what's going on over here while the rest of the guys just do the mission. Look, they've used their little Relic miniatures symbol.
Very good.
But at the same time, it's got a very distinct side-on look to it anyway.
Yeah. It still looks like a load of dongs.
Yeah. Mm. So I don't know if that's...
It looks even more dong-like than if they just left them there.
Task failed successfully? Is that...
Anyway. You were meant to do one thing.
Yeah. Well, you could if you want, but you can't make me. Obviously, having variety of people kicking around. So you've got
like Paris, the irony of it. What do we cover their helmets with? More helmets.
But make sure it's side on and remove the head. So you've just got the reversed Scandinavia, as they call it in France.
They're really nice, really good selection stuff.
I'm kind of blown away because for me, they've been going for a while now, but it was a company I had completely missed out on.
I'd never heard of them.
Which I've got a load of bits and pieces now for various. I've got Carthaginians, Romans, and some Gauls, but I don't really have any of this period Greek or Macedonian successors. So
I think I always confused them with Agema Miniatures. I think that's the company that I was like, oh no, they're different.
Yeah, they are different. Yeah. They're not Relic Blade either. Yeah. That Scythe Chariot's particularly vicious.
That's very cool. Yeah.
So yeah.
Of all the chariots that I've seen that you see in the ancient world as well, that one actually looks like it's reasonably safe and you wouldn't fall off the back of it as well. So.
Safe with the amount of blades on it. Safe.
But you're within the blades. So
yeah.
Yes, but you might still fall out of it, and your mate's coming along behind you in his own bladed chariot.
You don't want to hit a bump and go flying out the top. You also take a moment to appreciate the fact that he's put all the reins in there,
the hands.
Which is
it's like horse rigging, Jerry.
No, that's fine doing that. I have absolutely no problem with that. That's a sensible thing because you need to control those horses. Whereas boats go wherever the waves take it, the wind pushes it. Who cares? Don't need rigging on those. But yeah, you can pick up individuals or small packs or full-on sort of forces as well, which is always good. Numidians are quite cool. Let's have a quick look at some Numidians before we piece out of here.
So a decent amount of like skirmisher elements and stuff you can use alongside your. You'll probably end up using them as
famously mercenary. Yes. So getting your hands on some Numidian infantry and Numidian cav, especially Numidian cav, obviously, God bless Tanit, very good for Carthage, but they plied the top of North Africa quite a bit, so you might see them popping up in various places, and very distinctive. It's not ringlets, but the sort of the very curly beard and hair as well. That really, the minute you see them on the tabletop, you know what's coming at you, and you're probably not going to be able to hit them because they're going to run away after throwing stuff at your head.
That's either ringlets or that's Jerry in a beanie wearing a onesie or like a dress. So
that's how I dress when I'm not on this show. Yeah, it's 100%. As
a moo-moo.
I don't want to look silly or anything. Just give me the moo-moo. Have a look at the Romans because
you got to look at the Romans. I guess.
Why would we not when we're here? Filthy Levy,
Hastati,
Principes, and Triarii should be lurking in here as well.
I always remember. I remember it via the shout that you get in Rome Total War when you selected the units, and it would just go Hastati.
So here you go, Shay. These guys go first. We don't care about these guys. They're just there to scare off their alternate numbers of little peasant skirmisher types.
Oh.
And then you get your first and second line of your manipular formation, your Stati, and then your better armored Principes, who apparently swapped positions in a battle line. Nobody's entirely certain how that worked. And then you had your Triarii, the third rank, the old school, still fought in like phalanxes, and you play a lot of 40k, or at least did. In Space Wolves, the young bloods, the blood claws would get like really annoyed and go and charge off at people.
Oh yeah,
because they're young and they want to show how cool they are. These were the veterans, the third line, and so often the first two lines actually won the battle. So they'd be sitting at the back bored and would then get annoyed and would then tear off and start attacking people when they weren't supposed to. Because they were getting really annoyed that A, they weren't getting any fighting, and B, they probably weren't getting any loot either.
And while they're waiting, they're trying to kill people with their eyes.
That is true.
Stare at
them. They're the veterans. They've all got that 1,000-piece stare.
I've seen things that you'd never believe.
Very much so. There's more velites.
Velites, sorry.
Well, I don't speak Latin. That might not be. It's probably pronounced Velites. Depends where. Thanks for that. Depends where you learned your Latin, whether it's a V or a W sound. Winnie wiki.
Good, good set of Romans for you using your games.
Scipio Africanus. Absolute get. Forever destroying Carthage. Salting the earth. It's a really nice little, again, that's a little diorama.
Someone's ass. Yeah.
It looks like Iberian? Might be.
Maybe.
I could find out. I could just go there. Are you them? No, you're not.
Similar buckler shield styles, I guess. But,
no, it's not. It's probably Scutari. Anyway, yes.
There we go.
Regardless, Relic miniatures, a whole host.
Still lots for you to go and have a look at as well.
Yeah, that they're constantly adding to. So if you're interested in getting involved in the Punic or Hellenistic Wars, then really, really nice little. Here's what we're planning on doing, and we're just going to start working our way through it all. So you can just get a very distinct collection together as well, and then just laugh at your opponent who's got heads the size of pumpkins coming at you.
Look at you, ham-fist boy.
How can you kill anybody like that? You can't. You suck. Right. Take a quick swish and come back and take a look at the news.
Coming to you from the center of Northwestern Europe. Covering board games, war games, card games, and all that you love. It's the news.
Okay, we're back and we're going to be kicking off the news with a look at the world of
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah, I think that's how we go through it in the spotlights.
That's how I pronounce it all the time.
This is some new releases for the world of Conquest and the forces of the Old Dominion, who are getting
lovely people, delightful,
lovely people, not dead. And certainly loving it.
If you've not read the Spotlight from last week,
oh god, yes,
about the hermits,
cult. Yeah,
delightful people, lovely, charming, just the best. In fact, I was there. Look at them, the hermits of Smash.
Definitely go and watch it. But yes, so this is for another element of the Old Dominion, which are the Caniphores and the Caryatids. So within the world of the Old Dominion, there are lots of sects and cults and all that kind of thing. And within these temples and stuff, strange dark magics have been used in order to bring things back to life and all that kind of good stuff. And some of those weird spirits and creatures within that world have manifested themselves to fight once more for the Old Dominion on the tabletop, and they take the form of the Caniphores, which you see there, which are the sort of melee versions of these creatures, essentially, and also the Caryatids, which are the ranged versions. But they are essentially sort of evil personified that takes the form of these massive statues and turns them into deadly killing machines and all that kind of good stuff. Yeah. So these are usually the faithful, effectively, that got turned and made into nasty people. So, yeah.
Well, the rigmarole behind it, the shtick, if people want to go the shticky way, you've got the dark pyre that people fed their faith and themselves into to be reborn for the good of the Old Dominion. But sometimes bodies don't survive. So they use the statuary from the old buildings and mausoleums. And in this case, you can see they're more machine than man. In this case, more statue than person. It's just the dark fire sort of wreathed. These are absolute filth in combat, by the way. Just if anybody's wondering just how filthy they are complete filth. Between the massive cleave they have on them, high defense, really good clash, and they can do like a flurry of attacks as well. And while they're re-rolling hits and just carving massive lumps out of your heavily armored unit, you don't get any supporting attacks against them because they're untouchable. So whoever goes into combat, work on the principle you're probably going to die, and it's just going to take you several units to whittle these things away. and they're
potentially buy some of these.
And they're because it's a dual kit, so it makes both the melee and the caratids. Their longbow is more like a bolt from a bolt thrower, and they've got a big stonky, like a 30 or 36-inch range, barrage 3. So that's 9 shots with Pierce 2, reroll misses, just all.
Turning people into pin cushions. Yeah,
just gonna. It's like a machine gun bolt thrower statuary regiment at the back, just blitzing anything that comes near them.
I think it really builds on the aesthetic and the design of the Old Dominion as well, and showing off a lot more of that. Well, a lot more of what Parabellum do really well, which is take something that's very very familiar within the fantasy world. So
the trope of undead,
and then doing something different and doing like these weird possessed statues and that kind of thing. I mean, we saw it with that massive mausoleum on legs.
The bone golem.
Yes, the bone golem thing, which was just insane. Yeah. Oh, crazy.
Yeah, they've got no better, I have to say. The Canifores and caratids are just utter scum.
I want your love, me higher, higher than I've ever been. Yeah, totally Ghostbusters vibe.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Spread your pink goo everywhere. Yeah. So. As well as the Canifores and the Caryatids, there was also another miniature that got released last week as well. Or at least, it's up for pre-ordering, I think, at the moment. And this is the Mounted Strategos. So this is one of your leader characters that you can use for charging into battle on the tabletop alongside the Old Dominion.
Oh, he's a right prat. Look at him staring at the sky.
That's his face mask, that is. If you look on the other side of the image, you can see his undead face beneath it, which I think is really cool. So you get the look of how he would have looked in life with his actual sort of death mask.
Visor up.
Yeah. And then you've got the skeletal, zombified face underneath there too, which I think is really nice. I think they've done a very good thing with the horse armor, because if that had just been a big 35 mil bony horse, it would have looked really stupid. But by adding the armor on it, I think it looks a lot better. So
there's a lot to be said for cataphract armor.
Yes. Yeah.
It worked for centuries. A lot longer than other horse armors. Yeah. So you see that coming at you. I like the fact that some of them are missing in places as well.
Yeah. And these are characters within, because the thing with the Old Dominion is that some of the people that were sort of interned and came back to life and all that kind of thing retain a lot of their memories from who they were once in life, depending on the burial rituals they went to and that kind of thing. And in actual fact, a large section of the Old Dominion command kind of don't really want to follow this weird new creed that everyone's doing, and so they kind of just do their own thing more often than not. So there's a really nice thing of like, these are kind of like almost, they're sad, they're lamenting that they're the undead that have to unfortunately keep fighting and all that kind of stuff, compared to some of their other members of the Old Dominion and things that are properly in there with all the weird culty stuff. But some very nice miniatures there for Conquest and Old Dominion. Use it for the Last Argument of Kings if you like, or perhaps for First Blood.
First Blood, yeah.
Use it for some skirmish games.
Anybody using Canifores in First Blood, I mean,
is a terrible person.
You're a terrible person, and your friends will not like you. So presumably Justin.
I can see people who play other games who've been interested in the statues.
Oh yeah.
They look like, yes, they tie in really well with what they've done, but I think they have that reusability that they could just be dropped into lots of different things, because they're just unique looking, but not so unique that you can't reuse them. How does that? They are unique looking, but they just have that.
They're because they've got that Roman aesthetic. It doesn't tie them so tightly to the old
particular fantasy world or something like that.
The Old Dominion and the world of you could use them in other fantasy games without them standing out, because they don't look like some sort of super defined undead. They've got that historical bent to it. They'd be perfect for something like Saka, for example.
Yeah, they're perfect for something. They're perfect for something a wizard has just wizarded up.
Yeah,
also because they're 35 mil as well. Those are like big monstrous.
Well, they're on the big 40/50 mil bases there. So those are like
towering creations.
Huge.
Right. So with something so huge, you'll need to hide.
Yeah.
Where's a good place to hide, Ben?
So you may want to pick up a new castle for use in your games. And Magister Militum have put together a new kit that they apparently have been working on for about 8 months or so that has now finally hit their web store. So this is their 28mm resin castle set. It is split over 9 different components, only 3 of which we've shown here. Although actually 4 already, because you see the top of one of the gatehouse sections and that kind of thing. But they're all made of resin, as I was saying, so they're big, chunky pieces. And they've been designed so that they can modularly fit together in a variety of different ways. So a lot of people will look at castle kits and they'll be like, well, it makes a square. But they've added on the 45-degree and 90-degree angles, obviously there, as you can see, so that you can start to add a lot more curves into the mix as well, which I think is really nice.
Invigilate some of these things.
Now, obviously, these are big chunks of resin. So that makes them fairly expensive, but that does mean that it also means that you've got a really awesome looking castle with lots of detail worked into it in terms of the stonework, especially because you get that mismatch almost of the stones, as you can see there, where some are further in than out and higgledy-piggledy and all that kind of good stuff.
Like belly buttons.
Just like belly buttons, yes.
It's one of the
I've got an outie castle.
This is really bizarre as well. So these have been done on an A3 page.
Yes.
So you can work out your layout.
You can visualize stuff.
Yeah. You can sit down and work out your layout before you drop the money, which is handy because, I mean, some of them are really nice and relatively inexpensive, but, the gatehouse. We should get you the gatehouse.
So good.
Yeah.
I love the crenellations as well. Num, num, num.
Everybody's a big fan of the Merlins.
Yeah. But the thing that I think is really nice about this is the fact that it's a kit that allows you to make irregular castles. Because if you look at, rather than kind of like your standard sort of toy box square, so you've got places like Bodiam or whatever, which have that square feel and feature to them. But you look at somewhere like Edinburgh or somewhere in Wales and that kind of thing, and suddenly the castle fits itself into the landscape almost. Maybe think of it a little bit like Helm's Deep and that kind of thing, where it kind of works itself into the mountainside rather than it being separate from it and kind of standing alone. And so having something like this and having those additional pieces, I think is really nice for you to create fascinating environments that integrate with the terrain that you've also built on the tabletop. You could also go down the route of just not gluing it all together, essentially, and leaving it modular so that every time you use the kit, you could make it into whatery kind of castle you like, which I think would be quite nice.
I think for that price, I definitely would not be gluing it together.
Yeah, don't glue it together to buy another one. Yeah, so, the portcullis can be rigged to go up and down as well within that slot, so you can lift it and close it, and the doors. And
it even has the windlass on top of the top of the walls, so that you can recreate that meme of close the portcullis.
Yeah, open the portcullis.
open the portcullis a little.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a really fun looking kit that I think a lot of people will have a look at and maybe start adding to that. If you're looking for just, splash a bit of cash on some terrain, then maybe this would be good for it. And
a lot of people look at it, not a lot of people can afford it.
Well, that's true. But historical or fantasy games, maybe have a look at this and see what you think. Might be good if you're doing a little bit of role playing potentially as well, and you want to go 3D. Maybe pick something up like this and use it to create some interesting scenarios on the tabletop. So
I have to really like the detail they put into it. I'm shocked they went with resin. I think expanding foam, the same stuff that Zitrides used.
Zitrides, yeah. That'd be good.
They've even got murder holes for pouring out your oil or firing crossbows down.
The thing is, it's such a big chunk of resin. We've had big chunks of resin posted to us like this before, and a lot of them get broke.
What it looks like from above, in case you didn't know.
So hopefully their packing is like up to top notch.
Yeah.
Well, you'd hope so. For that money, you'd hope so.
Yeah, because it's a honking brick of resin, and I think if they'd done it in the foam, even if they'd done it in foam and then resin for maybe the doors and portcullis, they could have reduced the cost and the weight, because this is almost 5 kilos just for the gatehouse.
Ooh.
It's like 4.8, and just the top section is like 1.2 kilos by itself. The lid, as they call it, you're going, oh my God, never mind. I need to buy a new table first before I can deploy my castle.
The lid, 1.3 kilos.
Yeah, there you go. I wasn't far off it. Yeah. It's. I mean,
It's not for the faint of heart.
It is not, but at least it'll stand the test of time. Those castle walls will still be standing whenever the walls of your house have fallen down around it.
You build that in your basement, in your gaming room, and then when people come to excavate it later, they'll be like, "Oh my god, a miniature castle for miniature people."
I don't know. If you got broken into, the murder weapon's right there for them.
Well, that's true.
Oh, a big chunk of castle.
They will bop you upside the head with their
killed in the gaming room with the castle. Yeah,
killed by a castle. What happened? Who? Where? Anyway, yes, beautiful bit of kit. And if you have the cash and want to show off to all your friends, then you should send me the cash and I'll do one of those cameo videos for you. Is that no? All right, buy a castle then. Right. Sticking with historical stuff a long time ago.
I noticed a comment on the Weekender a little while ago where somebody was saying Warren used to talk about toys and picking up bargain toys for playing, not pleasuring, for playing. Okay. So I thought to myself, I know we're here to do XLBS in the future and stuff like that, but I thought, hang on a second. Why don't I just disturb all you guys and fulfill that individual's needs? Yeah, right. Okay. So my hot toy tip of the week. Buzz Lightyear. Okay. So Buzz Lightyear toys have not been selling well. Okay. And this little spaceship, okay, is now down to like £4 or £5.
Cool.
Okay. Now I collect a lot of little spaceships, and the reason is Star Wars, baby. Star Wars. Now I haven't opened this. I bought 2 of them. But what I was thinking is it would make a fantastic scaled Star Wars kind of speeder kind of car kind of a thing. All right. Now, opened. This is live unboxing, guys. Live unboxing.
This is where all the views are, live unboxing.
Now it comes. Ow. It came.
Fighting back.
I find him. It came a little green man. This little dude here. Now, this little dude is, do you know what, Jerry? He's kind of like old school 28 mil whenever it was 25 mil. Hang on. I don't know.
So it's more like 1/72nd.
We'll see him eventually.
See him?
Oh, you certainly see it. There you go.
There we go.
All right, so
like a micro machine.
What have I got? There you go. There's a scale.
There's a standard reference Squirtle. There we go.
Standard reference scale comparison right there. Okay, now let's see. Let's get the speeder out itself.
You're all out of focus, by the way. Okay. Right.
Check out that.
I mean, that's not bad looking.
That is pretty cool. Yeah.
Don't have a Legion figure
awesome?
you can stick beside it now.
What?
You don't have a Star Wars Legion figure you can stick beside it?
Or an old...
You would have to be awkward, Jerry.
Well, or
there's a Space Marine.
Anything in that scale. There you go.
Right? There's a Space Marine.
Space Marine's a standard reference. There we go.
Yeah, so Space Marine is a fairly standard reference. I do have a bunch of Star Wars minis. I could go and grab one.
Yeah, that's all right.
If you want.
But we know what size it is now.
And there's 28 mil Mars Attacks. Now, remember, the Star Wars pre-paints that I play with are a little bit smaller than this, so they work perfectly for this. But that would work. They would work perfect for Star Wars Legion. Like, I have no doubts. Now, I'm just seeing if any of it is articulated, because I get the impression that it might be. Oh, there's a thing on it. That's why. Right. It probably is, but I can't work it. But I don't need to be able to work it, because all it does is just sit as either a piece of terrain or you just use it as a transport.
Yeah.
You know, like a little transport in your games. So let me see if I can get myself back on the...
Stick some of the guys from the Land Speeder on it as a Star Wars technical, and away you go.
Yeah.
donut around the place.
Now, remember, I do my Star Wars in more RPG style than war game style. Just because I just find it more fun, to be honest, So I have my own game that I've been making with where you play card tricks, and it's kind of like a competitive thing. So you're sitting around kind of cool and relaxed and playing cards, and you collect your little Kismet tokens, and so it feels very casino kind of like, but you've got this RPG kind of taking place in front of you as you're playing this card game. So that's why I like these kind of things, because I bought that and I just chuck that down, and that looks spot on. I'm really pleased with that little purchase. So that you will find in many of your local toy shops on the bargain bin. There's some superb stuff from the Buzz Lightyear range. I am so glad when movies like that flop, because it just makes the toys so much easier. I can't wait for another few weeks to Avatar completely fails, because Avatar has some amazing toys.
There'll be lots of big alien creatures that people can start putting.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm going to get them, glue them all up, and have them ready for my Star Wars. And look, it even has little legs that it can perch on, so it perches. See? So
all about the perching.
It's all about the purchasing of the purchase.
Yeah.
And that is my interruption to front stage.
We're going to be looking at some stuff for Star Wars Legion. So Shatterpoint hasn't totally taken over everything from Atomic Mass Games. We're still getting some releases coming up for Star Wars Legion over the next couple of months. And starting things off in 2023, we're going to be getting Moff Gideon, and the Dark Troopers are going to be getting thrown into the mix. So if you too wanted to wield the Darksaber and hunt down a little green alien, then you have the ability to do so with the new Commander expansion for Moff Gideon. He comes.
There he is. There
we go. Yeah, so he comes with his Darksaber, but you can also swap that out for his Blaster Pistol if you'd like. I think you should go with the Darksaber.
Big black sword all the time.
Big black sword all the time, yeah. And I like the pose because it reminds me very much of the shot of him on his crashed fighter as he gets very angry.
Just very, very annoyed that somebody's just slapped a bomb on him.
Exactly, yeah. You also then get the Dark Troopers, which you'll know obviously from the Mandalorian series as well, though they have obviously existed in other realms of media.
They've been kicking around the comic since the early 80s.
But this is your set of Imperial Dark Troopers. These are your deadly combat droids that eventually started to hunt down poor Grogu and Din Djarin on that ship. In the set, you get an XS IV assault cannon, the SM9 frag launcher, and also the Myrtleizer, which is that massive stick
this
for beating people up.
It's a cricket bat. It's a space cricket bat for playing space cricket with those little floating drones that Luke played with.
Yeah.
That's why space cricket's so difficult, because they're always just doing like little 90-degree moves.
And in true, wait a minute, they can fly. They also come with their blaster rockets on their feet as well, so you can use them for flying over terrain and all that kind of thing, just like the Daleks. So you've got a set of Dark Troopers for you to throw into the mix as well, which I think is really cool. And the thing that I really like about this is that I think it will allow people to think about doing some cool scenarios with the Din Djarin miniature, and because it comes with Grogu as well.
Yes.
Like maybe make up a cool scenario where you got a bunch of rebels who are trying to protect the Mandalorian and Grogu as they try and escape off the board and get off the other side, while Gideon is chasing after them alongside the Dark Troopers. And it could be almost like this sort of attritional thing where the rebels are just throwing bodies in the way to stop these really elite troops from finding them in different houses and that kind of thing.
Mandalorians. If anybody's going to be able to slow down a Dark Trooper without just being stamped on, just throw Clan Ren and the other Mandos in.
But hopefully this is the sign of them doing a lot more stuff when it comes to Star Wars Legion going into next year. Obviously, we've got Shatterpoint on the way, which will be very interesting to see how that develops. But and I know they've sent out all their invites to playtesters now and that kind of thing. But they did promise that they're going to be doing a lot of this stuff in sort of Legion scale as well. So hopefully we'll see the like of a Sarge Ventress and all that kind of stuff as well, and diving into a little bit more of the expanded universe that the folks at Disney have built with all the TV series and stuff. I mean, I'd love to see some characters from Andor. I think that would be pretty cool.
So Shatterpoint hasn't completely shot over Legion's release schedule?
Well, as far as Atomic Mass games are concerned, no, it hasn't. But we shall see how it goes when it actually comes out in the summer, I suppose. But
I mean, they've already done Andor and K2 for Rogue.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah.
I'd like to see like an older version, like a younger, essentially, version of them, which would be kind of cool. And some of the different characters from that. Maybe some of the people from the sort of the final episodes. I'm not going to say too much more about Andor.
Spoilers!
People haven't seen
Spoilers!
it, so
just Clancy with his hammers.
Yeah.
That's all you want. The minute Clancy was in it with his hammers, he's going to do something at some stage, because you don't hire Clancy just to hammer stuff.
That was the coolest bit. That was so cool in those episodes when that happened. I was like, that's amazing.
Yep, it's all good. It's all good. It's nice to see more of the non-Skywalker family getting a run out as well.
Yes. Yeah. We don't just need to see more Skywalkers. It's okay. We don't need to see lightsabers all the time. So yeah, I suppose a dark saber counts. There we go.
But if they've done, because they haven't done, I'm trying to remember his name. Guy from Justified. He had Bubbly Feet's armor in Mandalorian. He played the marshal of the town.
Yeah.
They've not done him yet, but if they're going to go out and do,
I've got a 3D printed version of him from a different producer. But, yeah,
because he would be really nice, even if either in or out of the Mando armor, because you could do some. Because they did Bane.
They did the IG-88. They did IG-88, but the version of him that's in the
IG-15.
IG-15. Yeah. So we shall see.
Did they do any of the cyber kids on their mopeds?
Alas, no.
Nobody wants those.
Don't
bring us down.
I want them just to burn them.
Well, yeah. At least there's a reason there. Yeah. Oh my God,
they did Old Man Boba Fett. So
they did do Fat Bubbly Feet,
with his big gaffy stick. So
yeah, and his big belly.
Cobb Vanth,
yeah. Well done, you mad man, you.
Boom.
Yeah, him.
I didn't even look it up or anything.
No, because they've done Bane. If they do him, then you could do little Western, like what you call them, standoffs. Showdown at high noon style.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Right, more of that, please. Do that now, Disney and Atomic Mass Games. We'll wait. Right, well, while we're waiting on them, let's see the last bit of news then, Ben.
Yes, last bit of news. We're going to be looking at a little bit of historical stuff just to finish things off. I had a lot of historics in this episode so far, but that's what you guys love. So yeah, we're even going to be getting tiny. We're going to be getting 15 mil with this because Khurasan are doing even more amazing stuff for you to use in your ancient war games. This is a set of the Chatti, which are your sort of Gallic warriors from Europe for you to use alongside other tribes battling against the Romans. They've done a full release of these with command figures, basic infantry, cavalry, and everything in between in terms of skirmishes and all that kind of good stuff as well. I'm reliably informed by Khurasan that, so if this is wrong, blame them, that the Chatti were the rock-hard badasses of the ancient Gallic world, and they wouldn't cut their hair until they had made a kill. And so you'll have the very wild elements of the Chatti tribe here with their big beards and big hair that haven't actually killed anybody yet. And then you'll have the slightly more veteran elements of your, there you go, they're the big, young, bearded fellows.
Hairy, scary monsters.
These would be a load of chatty men then.
A lot of chatty men. Yes.
I don't see Alan Carr anywhere.
He's in there somewhere. But yeah, there was also apparently some historical evidence to say that they would wear iron collars until they had killed somebody in battle, although that may have been a little bit of kind of Roman propaganda or something like that, and it may have just been talks that they wore potentially before they actually killed anybody. But yeah, so you've got some different elements of the Chatti tribe there for you to play around with and have fun with. There's also the cavalry elements that you've got there too, which are looking really nice in 15 mil as well, especially if you're diving into playing out some massive battles on the tabletop. You definitely need some cavalry to run around and mop things up. There was also some interesting information in there about them being very, very good at essentially killing enemy cavalry. Mm-hmm. They had some very interesting tactics for bringing down horses and would be known as like the horse killers and stuff like that, which I think is really nice. So there's some interesting things for you to go off and do a little bit of research on as you start to bring this together. But again, the 15 mil stuff from Khurasan, I think, is always fantastic. I think they do a really good job. Lots of very good detail baked into their sculpts. And they'll be very it'll be very easy to see what's what on the tabletop, which I think is very important for 15 mil, because all of the key things have been brought out there properly. So you've got the big heads with the hair, the weapons are slightly oversized, so you can tell what unit's got what and all that kind of good stuff as well. So
I'm guessing these guys could fight each other though as well.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, the tribes fought each other.
These German tribes, are they?
Germanics, yeah.
Germanics.
Yeah. Also, when you freehand a 15 mil shield, it's essentially just a squiggle. So you're safe.
All right. Is that for Lloyd, is it?
Yeah.
Is that a little dig at Lloyd and his shields?
What time period? What time period are we talking here? Does this tie in with the Netflix show?
I don't know what the Netflix show is.
So, you don't know that they have like this show where the Germanic tribes are uniting to fight against the Romans.
Chatti were one of the most powerful opponents of Rome during the 1st century AD, and I didn't look this up.
Very decent of you.
There we go.
Well, you could see from the looks of them anyway. So it's early Imperial stuff. So yeah, if do they look like Hollywood Romans with their segmented armor and stuff on that Netflix show? And their lovely lobster helms and their big rectangular shields.
I think they look a bit Hollywood.
They're more gladiator than
I can't
running about with chainmail and stuff on.
It's called barbarians.
The Romans,
look it up.
The Romans they're fighting against in some of the artwork are wearing chainmail, so that's an interesting thing to think about. There we go, because that kind of places things in time periods. But
Caesarean Romans type of thing.
Yeah, chainmail, but still with the big helms and the big shields. So interesting stuff.
Still don't know what the Netflix show is, but
I think it is Barbarians of these things.
I watched a film called Barbarian recently, but
isn't that the murder one?
Yeah, it was different. Weren't so many Romans in that.
I will also say you can actually buy some naked Chatti as well from over on their web store. So if you want to send your naked buyers in to fight, then you've got that option as well.
I really like 15 mil stuff that Khurasan.
It's so good.
It's really is appallingly good.
Yeah.
Especially if you're into mass battle games, so
it's
DBXs and like
it's them and Forged in Battle that are like my top two for sort of slightly smaller scale ancient encounters on the tabletop. And of course, Forged in Battle also do the Dark Age stuff as well, which is very nice. So,
yeah, definitely a way to go if you're interested in playing out some bigger things, or even Age of Penda. Obviously, it's a different time period, but the system, which just requires a small amount of figures to play on your sort of grid tabletop. That'd be quite nice for that as well.
Would you believe it? I can't find a single picture of them with their shields.
Well,
I think they look like Imperial Romans.
Well, I imagine they were still punching face around there anyway. Because if they're Germanic and they're where they sort of northern Germany towards Denmark area. It's been a long time since I've looked at them, but I think they're up there. So chances are they probably weren't conquered.
This time, the Chatti expanded from their homeland near the upper Vigurses across the Tadhouse highlands of the Moenus River Valley and defeating the Serasusi and other neighbouring tribes. There you go.
Yeah, that's not helping me.
Encyclopedia Britannica. Thank you very much.
Right. If you fancy a bit of Roman bashing with some Celtic, Germanic type tribes, then definitely worth checking those out from Khurasan. Right. Enough of this. A final swish and we'll be back to round out the show. Okay, we are back to round out the show. We have some 3D printing to look at first.
Yes, we do.
And Ben, you've pulled a blinder. You've completely, taken us off kilter with all of our historical stuff that we've done all the way through, it's been history.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going to ruin it with dragons.
Yes.
Dragons.
Call on the power of the dragons. Summon all of your best Jeremy Irons quotes from the D&D movie.
My favorite quote is, everybody has to learn somewhere, but why does this director have to learn on this film? That's my favorite quote.
So yes, this is the folks at Cast and Play, like salt and pepper.
Kid and Play is what I was thinking.
Yeah. And so this is this is focused on their December releases for this year, which is The Rise of the Dragons. And they have done pretty much all of the chromatic dragons that you could want for use in a D&D campaign. There you can see the 5th edition set of additional sort of rules and supplements, all that kind of stuff that comes with it, which is really nice. But yes, they've done red dragons, black dragons, green dragons, blue dragons, ice white dragons,
snotty dragons.
Snotty dragons, everything you could want. And obviously you can see some of the sort of colorized version of them there, which is very nice. Yeah, every single time you go through this gallery, by the way, it'll think about the photo, and then when you go back and forward from that point on, it'll be fine. So don't worry about it.
Okay, I won't worry. Don't worry.
So this gives you a breakdown of all the different dragons that they've done so far, and some really nice looking sculpts that are very dynamic, and sort of step away from them just being your kind of flying dragon that doesn't really look like it would belong in an encounter. To actually dragons that feel like they can actually be in the moment, which I think is really nice. Like I love the one in the middle there, that's sort of breathing that massive burst of ice onto the ground. I think it's really cool. You've got the ones curled around pieces of masonry. You've got the one at the top, which is like your sort of your blue dragons summoning the electrical energy around them before they fire it at the enemies and that kind of stuff as well. And I think this is a very, very awesome little selection of 3D printed. Well, not little. A very good big selection of 3D printable dragons for you to use on the tabletop time and to have fun with. Yes, that's your kind of black dragons with all the snot dragon, as Rob keeps calling it. Yes. But yeah, some very cool bits and pieces in there that are packed with detail and all sorts of different good stuff, which is especially good considering there's a big focus on dragons and stuff back in D&D at the moment over the next couple of months.
I thought you were going to finish that sentence with "in your house."
Well, no, in my house, dragon. I mean, this sits on top of my computer, so there we go. Dragons everywhere.
Dragons.
But yeah, so I really wanted to highlight this one in particular because I thought they'd done something a little bit different with dragons, which was quite nice to see.
That dragon's just said Shazam.
Yes, he has, and turned into Dwayne Johnson. Oh, I'm smaller than before. What? But yeah, I think before this, my favorite set of dragons probably came from, the ones that Archon did as part of their Dungeons and Lasers. Yeah, I think they were really nice. They're still available, very nice in plastic, very good. But I think these are really cool if you've got a 3D printer and you want to kind of challenge yourself with something a little bit different. I mean, that's just amazing. That's a proper swooping dragon flying into the midst of the enemy.
I often see dragons with feathers.
Yeah.
But I suppose that's, cool. It's very dinosaur-esque.
It is, yeah.
Just because they're lizards doesn't mean they can't have featheriness on them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And an awesome chin beard as well, little soul patch.
Oh, he's so cool. I love him. I don't know why he's a brown dragon.
He's Mazarg.
It feels like the, in Captain Scarlet, where you had like Captain Scarlet and Captain Blue, and then there was Captain Magenta. We've run out of colours. Sorry, guys.
There was a Captain Brown, actually.
There was. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Our battle will be legendary.
I love that. Sort of going with the idea of it.
Psychic
like being
purple dragon.
Yeah.
Professor X in dragon form.
Got like a lich style, almost undead.
Oh, look at that weird thing at the front.
Yeah,
big gaping torso that he just sucks you into.
Getting very sort of Elden Ring, Dark Souls on there, which I think is really nice to see.
Oh, they didn't have Exercise Dragon.
Exercise Dragon?
Go back to the group shot. I'll show you Exercise Dragon. Look at him right in the... Look, up near the top with his arms. There he is. No, down. Cross to your right.
To my right?
There, no, there, he's right there. Exercise Dragon.
Oh, the one doing burpees. Oh, see, you say that, but I've seen a video recently of like a small bird doing like a mating dance where it's got its wings up and it's hiding its head. Yeah. Maybe he's doing that. Maybe this is a dragon mating dance.
He could maybe be doing
that.
We'll never know.
But yeah, so this is a great one to come and have a look at if you're putting together like a dragon cult, and you're building up something for your role-playing games where you want dragons to feature very heavily. Why wouldn't you want to do that anyway? And I think there'd be really awesome little painting challenges for you to dive into and have fun with. There's actually in Cult of Games on Sunday, there's a really good project which shows off some interesting techniques for painting dragons. So make sure you go and check that out on Sunday when we talk about that, and it'll give you some ideas for maybe working on these, because I think they would work very, very well with the old slap at the chop, where you do a little set of sort of dry brushed highlighting up before working in contrasts and speed paints to try and bring it all together. That'd be really nice.
And we get really nosy and look at someone's shelves for about an hour. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Some interesting stuff on those shelves. And those Badger coasters.
Yeah. But the folks at Cast and Play have been working on things for a really long time. As I say, this is just to focus essentially on what they're delivering for December. But if you want to go find out more, they have a My Mini Factory page where they have been showing off all sorts of different things that they've been working on. They've done sci-fi, they've done fantasy, they've done all sorts of quirky, weird, pulpy things in between and everything like that as well. So if you are interested in diving in and having a look at this, make sure to go and do so.
Use the code TERRAIN to get 70% off TERRAIN.
A few weeks ago, yeah.
Time travel's a thing.
Yeah, but as you can see, they've done multiples of these kind of like 5th edition booklets and that kind of thing for different things. So
actually, you're onto something there.
Jimmy Kimmel.
If you could time travel, the easiest way to make loads of money is to time travel around using coupons and nobody would notice. Rather than play the stock market on something that's really obvious, just travel around, gather up coupons.
That's what they made the mistake in Time Cop. They played the stock market and all of a sudden Jean-Claude Van Damme comes and kicks you out a window.
Yeah.
So now you know. Just use coupons.
Yeah. I was trying to point out there was some stuff above there. They did like sort of Aztec Mayan style orcs and trolls and ogres and things like that.
The Jimmy Kimmel.
Cool. So yeah, with Jimmy Kimmel, yes. Jimmy Kimmel the troll. Yeah. But yeah, definitely go and check them out if you're interested in a little bit of 3D printing. I know you've got yourself a massive 3D printer now, Shay, to be working on.
How big is it?
About,
did you go for the 8K or the 4?
8K. Oh yeah.
So it's essentially sort of 4K res, but because it's 8K, you're able to have twice the bed size.
It's about 3 times bigger than John's.
Wow.
Second John.
He's very jealous. He's very jealous.
He has been talking about buying one for himself.
Printer envy is a terrible thing.
The real test is going to be if you can put something on that printer and press print and it'll all work. That'll be whether or not you see if you've superseded John. Has
it arrived yet?
Yes, there's currently a print on it.
Oh,
there you go.
There is, yeah. So we'll find out.
Yeah. Come back next year to see whether or not Shay likes his 3D printer.
Just go out, came out with rubbish, I punched it off the desk. That's how we deal with those.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you win one of our prizes? Find out on our prize claim center over at OnTableTop.com. Here we list all our previous prizes and those who have won. If you see your username, fill out the form to claim your prize. All prizes must be claimed within 30 days.
Enough of that. Let's have a look at a few campaigns before we saunter off for a week's worth of Christmas shopping compressed into half an hour on Christmas Eve. I think that's how it goes.
Yeah.
And we're going to stay on Mini Factory, actually.
Yeah.
Because this is a campaign that isn't Kickstarter or thingy based. Full spectrum dominance.
Oh, yes.
If you've seen me playing the game, you'll know how much I hate Tabletop Simulator. However, this game can also be played with miniatures on a tabletop like nature intended. So the guys at the Lazy Forger have been working away on this for a while. The beta is available for a bit. This is a, what do they call it? They don't call it campaign here, do they?
The first digital edition of
Full Spectrum Dominance. It's a combined arms sci-fi game that sort of has strands of DNA snaffled from other games they enjoy. Things like Saga, where you roll dice and then allocate them to do various things, abilities and use weaponry. But in this, instead of having a whole slew of additional weird dice, it just uses D6 just to make life much easier. So they've been working on this for a while. In fact, the initial miniatures that we seen way back as an Indie of the Week, I think I picked a 3D print company as an Indie of the Week.
You did, yeah.
A long time ago. How weird was that? How weird was that? Anyway, the initial miniatures.
It would only have been weirder if someone had killed you with a sword.
Yeah, that's true. But the initial slew of miniatures and terrain, which was scaled for 6 mil, as you can see here, predate the actual game itself. So this little campaign is just to get the game out there. Now, there are 2 factions along with the digital rulebook. They're all STL based, so you're going to be printing if you're after the bits and pieces behind it. So the tech and the enlisted, creepy, weird-looking things as they are. I think we were all kind of blown away by the madness of it the first time round. We were looking at it going, well, if you want to play Epic Tau, then this is a thing that you can do that with. But since then, obviously, the enlisted have come along as well with a more humanitarian feel to them compared to the drone alien robot based techs and their big spider mechs. But one of the things Jack was saying when we were playing, actually before we played, was he just wants to see people playing the game, and what he really likes to see the most is when somebody throws him some pictures of them playing the game using just any miniatures at all. So if you're not a 3D print kind of person like myself, there's a lot of other games out there that do small scale sci-fi, and this isn't scaled specifically for 6 mil. It's scaled for small scale figures, so you can play it from sort of 2-3 mil up to 15s, because you define things based on unit distances, so you can sort out with your opponent what a unit distance will be, whether it's like 4 centimeters or 3 inches or whatever. So, scale wise, you can sort it depending on your collection. So it means you can pick up the rules for what's $10 by themselves if you're not going to be doing any 3D printing. If you are, there's a lot going on. Apart from the 2 factions and the terrain, they've been doing unlocks, and they've been doing sort of alternating unlocks as well. There's like cash money unlocks. There's timed unlocks on certain days. There's ones where a certain amount of backers unlock it.
Pioneers, as they call them.
Yeah, and I like how there's a different sort of spread, because obviously it's 3D, it's or PDF. You're going to be getting the stuff pretty much immediately. Depending on what it is, some stuff is unlocked and added right now. So if you're getting the additional terrain, it will be there immediately, but other bits and pieces will be added over the course of weeks/months. So they haven't come here and gone, we've written all the expansions and stuff as well, because who knows whether or not they'll reach those goals or have the time. So there's sort of bits that you'll get as soon as the campaign finishes, like the new tech vehicle with its ridiculous twin cannons and Gatlings on it, or
like the classic mammoth tank of Red Alert Pass. Yeah, I think.
Or additional scenarios or additional rules for some of the big miniatures that they've made will be sort of staggered over the next sort of months. So it's good, because people often say they back Kickstarter campaigns and then by the time it arrives, they've gone off it, or they forgot about it, or they've lost interest. Or with digital campaigns, it all arrives in one massive thump, and then it's radio silence until the next one comes. But with this, you're getting a big chunk sort of upfront, but then in February, so 2 months' time, you'll get some new scenarios, and then I think April and June, there's some extra bits and pieces coming in as well. So it sort of keeps the interest going, and the feeling that you're not alone as well. So that's quite cool.
What is the play size for that game?
Depends what size you print your miniatures out at. So or have miniatures. So you can play a full game on like a 2x2 if you're playing sort of 2 to 6 mil. You just have a very small coffee table thing, but you're playing a massive combined arms game with infantry, artillery, flyers, mechs, walkers, all sorts of things.
Because a lot of people zero in this thing and then they go, I can play a massive game, but I'm more interested in playing a regular sized game, but at a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
Yes. But both are very viable. So you can just blow it up massively and play ridiculous amount of stuff.
Yeah.
Although if you're doing that because of the way the game works, and if you go, there's our playthrough, and there's a couple of other playthroughs as well. The game is staggered. Not everything is on the board at the same time. You have waves. So you work out who your reinforcement waves are going to be. So like in turn 2 and turn 3 and turn 4, additional stuff comes in and reinforces you. So you might play like a 10,000 point game, say, but you may start the game with 4,000 points on table, and then an additional 1,000. These numbers are far too high because I know it's much smaller points value, but you get wave upon wave. So by the time you get to that huge 2 armies are on table, you'll probably have lost some stuff from the initial bit. So it keeps the game from blowing up. You know, if you're playing a massive game with a lot of stuff on the table, you know, every turn of movement takes 2 hours type of thing to get in there.
40k.
Yeah, that type of thing. You know, because you're starting with the most you can have in 40k, then that your first turn is the longest. This sort of helps not only streamline it, but sort of level out the play time as well. So as you lose stuff, more stuff comes in. It also means you don't go take a massive pasting the first couple of turns and then just be taking a hiding for the rest of the game, because you've always got supporting waves coming through.
Yeah.
And you can sort of
I like it from a strategy point of view, because if you stick down 2 full armies, a lot of the time you don't have enough space to actually set up a proper strategy.
Yeah. If you're cheek to jowl across the entire board, then all you do is walk forward in line.
That's
it.
Like musketry and
it's 2 turns before there's enough units whittled out before the strategy actually starts to really kick in.
I would also say that ROK Miniatures, or Rock Minis, however you want to say it, they do this physical set.
Yes.
So they're a licensed supplier, essentially, of the full spectrum dominance stuff, and they have printed it all out for you, so you get everything in that set, which I think is really cool. So, and you get everything. You get everything for playing the game in that box set. So, if you wanted to get them physically, you could always get the rules from the My Mini Factory campaign, and then just pick up all the extra stuff you need here, printed off for you already.
Yeah, if you know somebody who's just got a new 8K printer.
Just get Shay to do it. Yeah.
Just get Shay to do it. Shay, do you want to print a load of mechs and tiny people to stamp on them?
Sure, you buy me the resin, you buy the files. I got you.
Yeah, sure. 100%. I think you'll find that I've already given all the files of all the terrain to John, because he was printing some out for the BattleTech tables a while ago.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's how generous I am. I am a beneficent god. But yeah, if you're interested in trying some small-scale sci-fi out, then it's definitely worth having a look at, because I quite like the play style behind it as well.
Yeah, go and watch our Let's Play. Yeah.
I am very bad at Tabletop Simulator. It just shows why I push miniatures around on a board in real life and don't attempt to do anything technical ever. Right, Ben.
Yeah.
Where are we going off to?
So we're going to be heading back in time to the Napoleonic era with this next Kickstarter. This one's another one from Piano Wargames, who do amazing stuff that we've looked at. We've actually looked at both of their previous campaigns to this one, I think. So this one is set around another essentially war that happened, a series of battles that happened that not many people very much know about, really. So this is the Tyrolian Rebellion. I'm sure there's a better way of saying that. That happened in 1809. And this was apparently listed as one of the bloodiest, if not the bloodiest, rebellions during the Napoleonic era, that saw the peasants and the people of the area rising up, and big battles happening with the Bavarians and the French and the Austrians all getting involved. And as is the way with Piano, they basically want to try and tell the story of a series of battles that not a lot of people are very aware of, and sort of bring it to light on the tabletop, which I think is really nice. As is the way with their previous campaigns, and the same one applies here. You can get these miniatures in a couple of different ways. You can go down the route of getting them as 28mm metals. So you just get them in a traditional format that you'd normally see for Napoleonic stuff and just bring them to tabletop and have fun with them, which is always nice. Or you can actually get digital STL files of all of the miniatures that are available within the different bundles and then print them off. And the other really cool thing about this as well is that they've made them so that they can be scaled to different sizes. So if you want to scale them down to 15 or 20 or 25 or whatever, you can do that, and the details still held there, and it looks fantastic. Or you can just get them printed out in 28mm and have fun with it. I think beyond the actual sort of the New Bavarian stuff and the French and the Austrians, I think my favorite of this bit is the actual personalities of that rebellion, and the fact that Lucas has gone into so much detail to bring to life all of those different people that were involved within that conflict in some fashion or other. And the reason why it's called the Alps Aflame is because literally at times the forests of the Alps were burning as people were fighting, through farmland and on battlefields and in the mountains themselves and all sorts of different things. And I just think it's a really nice sort of corner of the Napoleonic sort of period to pick out, really, because a lot of people get very sort of centered in on what happens between France and England, or they look to Spain perhaps as well and what happens over there. But I think looking at something like this and some of the fringe battles that happen around such a mammoth period of history is very cool.
I mean, the Bavarians, obviously, you could use those for Napoleonic quite happily. But yeah, the Tyrol Landsturm, they're just great.
In their lederhosen.
While the hills are alive with the sound of battle.
That would have gone very different if she's twirling around and gets shot by a musket or something.
She was packing a pair of Uzis from what I've seen. But yeah, they are gorgeous looking figures.
Yeah,
the Austrians really are as well.
Yeah,
so the Austrians previous.
Yeah, so a lot of the stuff from the previous campaigns is available, so they've brought that in through, so you can go and pick those up. And then I think they've added a few elements that were kind of missing from previous campaigns, or particular characters and things, and carried them through and stuff like that, which I think is really nice. And here's where you get to, I think they'll show off the 3D stuff in a second, actually, in here, where you get to look at the way that all comes together. But yeah, I think it's a really nice way. There we go. So you can see how they come together when they're in 28mm. And all that kind of good stuff, where you can scale them down. That guy's taking a nice relaxation on a girder. But there you go. There's 14mm, and obviously it's 14mm because Warlord Games and their Black Powder epic battles. But it's essentially 15mm. Let's stop beating around the bush. There we go. Yeah. So if you're diving into,
but is it the same? Is it the same models, or have they slightly adjusted the models?
It's the same model that's just shrunk. So, because you can see it's the same poses and things. So all the detail's still there. It's just been reduced, which I think is quite nice. So,
very cool. Genius, really.
Yeah, and it tells you just how to do it via percentages and things to get everything right, which is really cool, really nice. So as well as the sort of core pledges that you saw there, there are flags. But then they've also got a bunch of stretch goals that have been opened. So you can get your hands on Jaegers. Oh, I love Jaegers, not the bombs. But then they've also got cavalry in there as well, which is really nice. And there are even some goats, because why wouldn't you want some goats? Which should show up quite soon in this collection as well.
There I am about to smash somebody's head in with a rock.
Yeah. How dare you use miniatures for role-playing games?
I warned you.
Yeah. But yeah, you couldn't do fighting in mountains without lovely goats, could you? So we'll see those in a second as we go through. But, as you can see, the detail on all the sculpts is fantastic. And it's really nice to see a campaign with so much painted stuff already, where they've taken all the test models and things they've done previous to the launch of it, and gone, let's get them painted up so people can see what they'll look like when you actually get them to the tabletop and stuff like that, which is really cool.
Philosophers.
Lots of things.
Jeez, there's a lot to come from this guy in the future. He's only 26.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, like say, there's this is I won't say, well, I was going to say it was the third, but it's the fourth.
That guy in the middle. That guy in the middle just looks like he's going for a drunken pee.
Yep. just put a tree there that lamppost in against. Yeah. Way you go. Yeah. Well, even the civilians are excellent. Yeah. And I mean, if people aren't into their mass battle, those rebels, the Tyrol rebels, great for things like
the goats,
Chosen Men, or Silver Bayonet, or things like that.
Yeah, would be absolutely perfect for it. Yeah.
Unlocked. Is there anything that isn't unlocked yet?
Well, I mean, they've smashed through their goals pretty much.
Yeah, well, I think by this stage, people are aware of Piano's work.
So they
whenever
latch onto it. Yeah.
They get right in there.
They were saying that a lot of the stuff will be then essentially available via retail in the future. They have said that there's a couple of issues with shipping stuff to the UK currently, but they are hoping to resolve a lot of that.
So STL files would be the way to go then.
If you want them now, then yes. But they are sort of looking. Obviously, getting your hands on the physical stuff shouldn't be an issue. Hopefully, in the next couple of months, which would be really nice. So maybe when this goes for delivery, there we go. That would be great. So.
You say that, but when you go to get it posted, the post office and wherever it's coming from, like, oh, part of the UK.
Oh, it's fine.
And just lump us in.
Yeah, they know what's going on. There's even a bit of blurb about the Tyrolean Rebellion. Really nice neck of the woods as well. If you're ever looking for a holiday, Tyrol region is absolutely gorgeous.
Just don't set fire to the forest.
Don't set fire to the forest. I mean, as a complete aside,
Smokey the Goat will be very angry
not here. So. If you're looking to do a spectacular tabletop, some of the villages up there in the Tyrol region, they've got they're like Tudor style buildings, plaster lathes with exposed timber, but they would also decorate. So like fantastic drawings and artwork painted on the side of the buildings, especially up around Oberamagu. You could actually have these spectacular vistas that you could be fighting in and around. So rather than just the usual, everything's white and black. Nah. Not when you've got a whole wall's worth of plaster to paint on.
So it'd be like
mentality.
It'd be like Keanu Reeves in Toy Town.
It would be exactly like that. Yeah. Anyway, right. We have one more before we jump on.
Yeah.
Ben, you like your root vegetables.
I do. I'm a big fan of turnips, carrots, and potatoes. And so this is a Kickstarter all about starting sustainable farming. No. And so this is...
I would have been surprised if you had popped in with that.
Well, that's true. There's probably a board game about that.
Your Euro tracker has to carry something somewhere.
Yeah.
Gee whiz.
Hey, that was a good game. Anyway, so this is from Max FitzGerald, who a lot of people will know created Turnip 28, which has had quite the movement within the kit bashing community out there on the internet. Previous to this, they made Turnip 28 available through Patreon as a set of rules for you playing essentially vegetable-based black powder wargaming on the tabletop. And it was really good fun. And the idea was that you would bash together stuff from, for example, the Perrys, and then add all sorts of weird things like roots and vegetables and everything in between in order to bring the miniatures from their world to life. Well, Max FitzGerald and Saint Decent, who does all the sculpting for this, have decided to launch this Kickstarter, which is Turnip 28, The Forlorn Hope. And this provides you with the first, essentially, official miniatures for use within Turnip 28. So if you don't have quite as much sculpting skill or kit bashing skill as some people out there, then you can pick up a range of arms, heads, legs, bodies, weapons, accessories, and everything else in between that can be then used to build the troops that you start to see here and get them painted up for your games of Turnip 28 on the tabletop. Now, one thing to note about this is that, again, similar to what we've seen in the previous Kickstarter, the miniatures here can be either picked up as sort of 3D printed resins, so you can get them physically if you want, which is quite nice, or you can get them as digital STL files and you can print them off yourself and all that kind of good stuff. I mean, how weird is that? It's a weird root vegetable with a triangle.
It does seem to have a certain amount of swagger.
Yes, it does.
Despite the fact it seems to be a Swede.
Yeah, well, but in addition to that as well, one of the things that they really wanted to emphasize with this is that while these are essentially, the official miniature kits for Turnip 28, in no way are these like
the only way
to do these. The whole point of them doing them as bits, like as you can see here, is that you can do the kit bashing anyway. So if you wanted to go and pick up, again, some stuff from the Perrys or Wargames or something like that, and then start getting stuck in with green stuff and all that kind of good stuff, you can use that in order to make the miniatures how you see fit and build up your own factions and things. Because within Turnip 28, there are like a series of different factions that have their own feel and aesthetic to them. So you might look at these and then be like, well, I really want to make them a little bit more like this faction or this faction. And so you want to add bits and pieces from different ranges in there and see what you think. I love that there's just an option for veg. Yeah. Because why not?
Why would there not be? But it's also a good way if you're looking to build a large amount on a relatively small budget.
Yeah.
A box of Napoleonics plus a set of kit bashing things, and then you put regular hands on these more defined bodies, and then put the other bits on the vegetable bits on the plastics, and double the amount of stuff you've had. There's a lot of backpacks there as well. Yeah. French, clever, clearly.
The other thing that's really good about this campaign as well is that this is the first almost kind of official release of Turnip 28 as a set of rules. So it has existed up until this point on Patreon, and you can actually go and download the rules for yourself for free, and they'll always be there for free for you to get. But if you back this campaign, in addition to getting the miniatures, you also get the updated version of the Turnip 28 rules before anybody else does as a backer, which is really cool. And that'll mean 6 new cults. So that's the kind of factions that you'll play as in the game. 6 new scenarios, and all the balance changes and quality of life improvements that FitzGerald has worked on since the initial, essentially, release of the game back in the day as well. I say back in the day, it was like last year, wasn't it? But yeah, so if you're interested in Turnip 28, we have talked about it as an Indie of the Week a couple of months ago, earlier in the year. But it's a fascinating creation by essentially one man. I say that, but the sculpting's come from Saint Decent, who has done a phenomenal job on a lot of different miniatures that we've looked at in the past as well. So yeah, and it's quite quick and easy to play as well.
The art and rules coming from the one guy?
Yeah, so the art and rules came from FitzGerald, who's done all of this stuff, and then the sculpts were designed in 3D based on the concept art by Max, and then turned into sculpts by Saint Decent. So there we go. Yeah,
it's a bizarre world.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it.
I mean, a route B. Why not?
Why not? Why not have a route B?
Yeah,
we've all been there. Look at them cannibalizing each other. Probably.
It's very much a labor of love that if you want to dive into and have fun with, you can do. I remember back in the day, I said it again, earlier in the year, we talked about this alongside Sludge, which was the game from Black Site.
Yeah.
And not Black Site, for a Metal King, which then had miniatures by Black Site. That's what I'm thinking of. But that was, again, built into this kind of movement as well. So if you're interested in all that kind of good stuff, definitely give this a look and see what you think. I mean, what a wonderful general.
What the heck is this? It's like
it's some form of Wicker Man meets beast.
And look at all the medals. So he's clearly good at his job. So yeah,
is he though, or is he like some sort of monstrous Muttley where he requires a medal before he'll do anything? You want me to smash down that village and eat the villagers? I want a medal first, and I want a medal after. Show how good I was at eating all the villagers.
But yeah, very cool stuff there, and definitely want to have a look at if you're interested in that kind of kit bashing, Ink 28 grim dark stuff that's happening on the internet in all of the tiny pockets of the world.
You can get rooted.
Crazy. And on that note,
it's rootin' tootin'.
I think we've had enough for this week. Somebody's been at the Christmas sherry already, from the sounds of things. We shall return
here.
Yeah. We shall return on Sunday for our XLBS over on tabletop.com if you want to come and join us there and get into the festive spirit with us and not get into the festive spirits again. Otherwise, we will see you maybe next week, but more likely 2023. We've got something special for next week, so keep an eye on the channel anyway. Otherwise, we shall wish you a very good years of gaming, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.